morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. Welcome back to another episode of Market Check brought to you by BB. The title of today's stream, Crypto is Loading a Big Pump. Market Check. Well, here's the deal, guys. You have the two biggest bulls on the BB team right here, okay? And I don't say that lightly because we have some other bulls on the team. But when you talk about true red-blooded American patriot bulls, where at any point during the 6-month chop solidation, never felt the urge to jeet even one single position, you're looking at them, you know? For one, you have the bull market spirit animal, Tucker, who's got a really sort of exotic cheetah print pattern on his shirt today, and I feel like he's going to bring that. He's going to bring that jungle cat energy to the stream today. It's going to be great. But yeah, guys, we're going to talk about it because we are at a critical level, and I know we've been saying that a lot because it's like, yeah, we've been at a critical level. I feel like for damn near 6 months now. But you know, as we get into the latter half of Q3, we should have some more clarity on where we're going. Right? Because on September 18th, we have the next FOMC where at this point it's a certainty that we're going to get rate cuts. The market is fully 100% pricing in rate cuts. We had CPI this morning that came in as expected, which is a good thing. Okay. It was a good thing because I believe it alleviated that little bit of doubt or fear that, hey, maybe inflation isn't actually trending back towards the Fed's long-term target of 2%. So we're moving in the right direction still. GDP is in a good spot. Unemployment in a pretty good spot still. And we're about to get softening, easing, more dovish conditions in the form of a 25 basis point cut, presumably, unless there's a surprise, at the September 18th meeting. All of that is happening right as we are coasting into what is historically the most bullish quarter for crypto and for risk, being Q4. October, November, and December historically has the best returns for crypto. So all of this is sort of coming to a head right when we need it to, which is why we titled today's show, Crypto is Loading a Big Pump. And the truth of the matter is, guys, like it's a big level, right? If Japan liquidates itself again, it's another
Can't have that, Max. We can't have that.
You simply
No.
cannot have that. You need the Japanese to figure it out. They cannot imagine letting another country liquidate you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We can't go down that path again. But here's the thing. I feel as though ranging and chopping and holding at least through the next FOMC, which is September 18th, into Q4 and the election, November 5th in the US, is the most bullish outcome right now. And I was guilty of something, Tucker, and I have a confession.
What's
I'll
that?
confess it live on the show. I'll do it.
Do it.
It's tough for me to do, but I will confess it. I am guilty of being a Q3 seasonality denier. Okay. Q2
I am as
coming
well.
to an You are as well? Oh.
Yes.
This feels great to just kind of let it all out there, you know, like just to share it with you and the world. And like it takes bravery to do what you just did, you know. I didn't expect you to stand up, but it was the end. We'll rewind time. It was the end of Q2, and we were so far on pace, you know, for an expedited cycle, right? Q1, end of Q1, we were at all-time highs in price discovery technically. Q2, you know, we start to pull back. But I said, you know what? We're having an expedited cycle. Why would it stop? They might just front run Fed cuts, you know, into the end of this year. We're going to continue on this path for an expedited cycle. And I faded the historical trends, being Q3 seasonality not being so great. I faded it. But you know what I'm not going to do? Is I'm not going to make the same mistake twice. I'm not going to fade Q4 seasonality similarly to how I faded Q3 seasonality. I won't do it. You can make a mistake once. Everybody makes mistakes. But you make it twice? No. That's destructive. That's irresponsible. I won't do it. But let's talk about the technicals. I mean, as more or less expected, we had some bullshit this morning. We had a little bit of garbage. We had CPI an hour before the US Open. Came in, core came in as expected, headline came in as expected. We saw longs opening right after the print, shorts got liquidated. Then we saw longs closing and late longs got liquidated. And now we're kind of just back to where we started, give or take. But Tucker, if you could just walk us through some of the artwork that you've just thrown on the chart, that would be a great place to start.
Yeah, I mean, it has what you talked about locally has just been, total leverage trader death, right? What Tommy likes to say. But what I just drew up here was kind of what I talked about on our morning call, right? Is we haven't had Bitcoin like this was like a month, right? This was about 5-6 weeks. We've been hanging out above 50K for 6 months, guys. Like that's I don't think we need to.
Let me cut you off real quick. I'm so sorry to do this.
You know
Would
what
you
I mean?
consider this to be price acceptance, reestablishing value above a level that previously, going back to last bull market, was distribution? So
Yeah, I mean,
distribution now turns.
these
Okay.
these were clearly deviations last bull market, right? Like I think you'd be hard pressed to call this 6-month range or even downtrend if people want to call it that distribution. Like this does feel like acceptance above range rise because like you could draw last bull market's range like this, and let me make it green. Um, deviation. This is not, I wouldn't call that a deviation. You could even draw like that, right? But
Yeah.
anyway, look. So usually this is kind of how it goes, and we can go map out other years. But if you have a strong Q1, usually it's one or both. Q2 or Q3 will be somewhat red. Usually one will be kind of neutral and one will be down. We had both that were pretty down this year.
Mm-hmm.
But if you have a strong Q1, you have a strong Q4. That's usually actually historically pretty much always how it goes. So this was Q1, Q2, Q3. This is Q4. We are almost there. I'm expecting this, guys. I mean, as we come back into here, as we digest Fed cuts, bang. That's not the craziest thing in the world, and I think it's probably going to happen. But I think the window for bears is closing quickly. I think obviously till the end of the month, but really until Powell opens his mouth next week is kind of your downside window, in my opinion.
Are you expecting a dovish Powell? Are you expecting a Giga Chad Powell? Or are you expecting a timid, nervous, well, the labor market is showing signs of softening and we will be monitoring the data closely? What are you expecting?
I mean, I think he's got all the data he needs to come out and again claim victory like he did at Jackson Hole, right? Like he's got steady GDP, he's got inflation cooling rapidly. Obviously, the labor market is softening a little bit, but it's not too dramatic yet.
Mhm.
So I think he's got a window to come out and be a complete Chad and just pump the bags. I think he does, but
What color is his tie gonna be?
I hope it's blue. I'm pretty sure we want blue. I'm not
What
100%.
if he
It's either
comes
like,
out wearing like a neon green tie?
let me see if it's the pink one.
Has
I can't remember.
anybody plotted that, like, the color of his tie with the market? I know
Pretty
that's getting a
sure.
little left curve with it, but, I mean, you gotta consider everything, man.
I mean, let me see. Mm, Where's the pink tie? Yeah. I don't know. I don't know what color we need the tie to be, but there is a bullish and a bearish one, and that is measurable, guys. That is indeed measurable. So
Yeah.
we'll see. We'll see what he wants to do, but I think the whole wake me up when September ends mentality is probably real, right? Like I wouldn't.
Green Day did it again, man.
Green Day did it again, and they're called Green Day. You know what I mean? Like that's
Literally.
crazy.
They're
So
traders. They get it.
they got it. Yeah, they figured it out. Yeah, but um, I don't know. I mean, locally, I would like to see a swing fail of 56K. That would be great. But I think you consolidate above right here, and you're good. You know.
This excluding March, April, May, looking at where we're at right now,
Hmm.
is giving me very similar structural and kind of sentiment vibes as Q3 to Q4 of last year as well.
Last year.
September, October of 2023.
Oh yeah, I know.
Right in
Yeah.
that little,
Yeah.
because you did lose structure there, right? Like you broke down from your high.
Hmm.
And actually on Bybit, you went to put in a new low. Bybit futures nuked that low from June of
Yeah, they were
2023.
like they were like here or
Yeah.
something. Like yeah.
So there were some liquidations down there. But I'm getting similar vibes as that. At least that's the optimist in me, right? Is that
Hmm.
we are kind of floating in no man's land, it feels like. Q3 seasonality kind of has us pinned, and we're just waiting for Q4, right? And we might kind of slow grind up into it and then hopefully get a pop, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we've just had super, super low time frame mechanical price action, like across the board. Like, I mapped this out today, but like this is what we were talking about like a week ago, like this is kind of your range. You had a couple deviations, this like what Tommy says all the time, right? Like this grind into a pop, grind into a pop,
Yeah.
right? And then swing fail, come back up, and then do something like that. So that's kind of still what I'm expecting, but I mean,
Mhm.
like to back up, I couldn't be more bullish on Q4. Like I don't even know what we're talking about, like I am so bullish on Q4. And that might be like the normie take of the I mean, it's just data, right? Like I'm not gonna fade it because like, you know, 10,000 people on Twitter, like it's just such an echo chamber and such a little bubble on Twitter. Like everybody's like, "Oh my god, sentiment is bullish. No, it's
Yeah.
bearish." It's like, dude, there's like 10 people here. What are you talking
There's
about?
literally 10 people. And that's the
There's
thing too,
literally-
is I don't even think at this phase of the cycle. I would argue that in late Q1, early Q2, there were some obvious signs. Like we had a lot of celebrity token scams,
Mhm,
there were certainly signs of froth to be
for
aware of,
sure.
right? For like an
Mhm,
intra-cycle top, which now in hindsight is as
mhm.
crystal clear, right? It's crystal clear.
Yes.
Um, I pulled up this chart. I Tommied the chart. This is this is my roadmap.
Mm,
Okay. I made this chart a while ago. I have just continually posted it over and over again as a reminder, but I find it very, very interesting. Also, hit that like button. Otherwise, you're going to find the soybean chart very interesting. But I am looking at this right here and call it left curve, call it overly simplified, whatever you want to call it, whatever you want. For right now, this is what we're working with. And I believe it is worth keeping a close watch on this. Okay.
mhm.
For one, if you've been in crypto for more than a year, you will, I don't have to tell you this, you will know that it's a bit spooky how dates and seasonality and events affect price. And it's like fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Fool me 3 times, this is crypto, right? It just doesn't matter how many times they keep running the same playbook over and over and over and over again, and it's like everyone's like, "Oh, it's too obvious. They can't do it again," and then they do it again.
It'll work every single it's the Wall Street cheat sheet type of psychology. Not like
Yeah.
the fractal, but like the psychology is the same. Like people are like, oh no, this time is different. The 4-year cycle, everybody knows about. All 10 people on Twitter know about it. Like,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying is like, I think we had like a tiny bit of retail come back into the arena in like January, February, March, April, and then they bought Jason Derulo's shitcoin, and then they got rugged, and now they're gone, right?
Yep.
And I will say this, I'm going to fully left curve in the most normie of senses this entire cycle, because I was of the opinion that, hey, we're going to have an expedited cycle because look, this was March for us. This was our March top right here. I'm circling it on the chart. This was our March top. You can see that we were clearly ahead of schedule. Okay. We were clearly ahead of schedule compared to the 2016-17 cycle and the last cycle, 2020 through 2021. We got off to an early start. Maybe it was because of the Bitcoin ETF. Who knows, right? You could justify it 100 different ways. We were technically a month to a month and a half ahead of schedule, depending how you want to measure it. All right. And we have basically journeyed back perfectly to sync up with the previous two cycles. Here's where we're at right now. Like, look at, we have perfectly converged right here with the previous two cycles. Perfectly. Like we've mean reverted perfectly right back on the railroad track with the previous two cycles. And
I mean, by now, that September bottom should be in, right? If you really like zoomed back in there. Also, the price action right before the election is somewhat interesting, right?
Yeah,
but
I've got the elections marked out right here. Election in the 2016-2017 cycle right here. And then the last cycle is right here. So this election it's out here a little bit further, but you can see that price from the 2016-2017 cycle, I'll put this in blue for the 2016-2017 cycle, we moved up right here. And then in last cycle, 2020, 2021, I mean, where do you want to mark it from? We can mark it here. We'll put it in purple, right? We also moved up into the election, right? So we do typically, historically, move up into the presidential election. And I mean, we're November 5th, we're less than 2 months out, and we've perfectly converged with the previous two cycles, heading into the most bullish quarter historically for price after 6 months of ranging. And I would argue at this point, price acceptance or an attempted acceptance, reestablishing a value above previous cycle distributive levels, which Tucker showed, which is like basically just above 50K, more or less. Okay? So this is it. And by the way, the one thing I was going to say is I was like, fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice, shame on me, fool me 3 times, this is crypto. It's not a coincidence that the previous two cycles were basically the same amount of time from bear market bottom. And that's what these fractals show is from the Pico Schmico bottom here. I've got the FTX capitulation bottom. So our true Bitcoin bear market bottom, not counting this as a deviation. The previous two cycles, Pico Schmico bottom. From Pico Schmico bottom to global top was about 1,068 days or something like that. I don't know why it's not showing it right here, but it's basically, I don't know why it's not showing. It's, yeah, okay. It was like 1,100 days, give or take.
Yeah.
It's like the same amount of time. I don't know why my trading view is not showing it, but whatever. Point being is we're doing what we've always done. And this is hard for me to want to fade, right? Because there's always some macroeconomic indicator that's contracting, right? There's always some pocket you could point to and say there's contraction in the economy here, right? But when you look at the picture holistically, right, and you say, okay, there's always going to be something that's contracting, right? Do I really want to fade like liquidity cycles? Do I really want to fade easing market conditions with Bitcoin having an election? And like, it's hard for me to want to it's hard for me to want to fade this, right? And the data is not bad, right? The data is not bad. And I also think that people have become a little bit lackadaisical or maybe lazy in
Mhm.
just cherry picking a few different examples of, let me show you. So let's move over to stocks. Actually, this is what everybody likes to talk about. They like to pull up the S&P 500. They love to do this, right? They love to do this. They
Max,
love,
have you heard of 2008?
yeah, exactly. I don't see how a scenario like that could even be entertained at this point. Like, I don't understand that. Like, I don't see the similarities in it. I guess no one thought 2008 was going to happen besides a handful of people, and then it did happen, right? But everybody likes to do this. They pull up the S&P 500 and then they just throw up the Fed funds rate and then they just go, "Oh, well look at back in 2000 when we cut rates. Oh, and look at back in 2007 when we cut rates. Oh, and then, well, we technically went up a little bit here in 2019, but look at what happened when we cut rates. Then we had COVID, right? And we actually went up for like, another 200 days before, we actually had emergency cuts." But they like to conveniently ignore all of this back here and go, "Oh, what about all these cuts?" We'll even this was kind of weird, right? But like, what about this, right? We got some cuts here, we got some cuts here, and we got some cuts here, and they like to just ignore. They like to just cherry pick some data and ignore others, and they go, "Oh yeah, look, rate cuts are inherently bearish, right? Cheaper money is inherently bearish because of what it represents." I agree with you, but what about this? What about these rate cuts? What about these rate cuts? This was weird, right? But similarly, we were coming out of USIRY. What's the inflation?
USIRR.
USRYY, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So we were coming out of the 70s where we had, comparably high inflation to what we had over here in 2022. Headline was at over 9%, right? So when I look at this and I go, "Well, why are you not acknowledging what happened over here?" Where we were coming out of a historically when we were coming out of a historically high inflationary period of time, they hike interest rates, market moves up while they're hiking, and then they start cutting, and we basically just keep moving up and up and up and up. And additionally, at the same time, we could pull up the US unemployment rate. We actually had unemployment moving up and then moving down, right? But actually, unemployment during this period of time wasn't historically low, right? But markets were still moving up. So I'm just saying, I just feel like there's a lot of cherry picking of data. And I'm like, well, if you're
Mhm.
going to cherry pick data and say this is 2000 or 2007, well, I'm going to cherry pick it and say, okay, well, what about the 80s, right? We don't have 1,000 data points to go off of. We only have a handful, right? So I'm like, you
I
have to
mean,
consider.
Max, even look at the 90s. Look at the 90s too when unemployment went up. We had a gradual uptrend right there on unemployment, and the market just continued to chad, right? Look at like 1990.
Yeah, so this is unemployment right here, the bottom line, and I'll make it look a little different just so we'll make it look like an area, and we'll put it in red, and I guess we'll just do red and green, okay? So we'll take the inflation rate off. This is the Fed funds rate. So we have the S&P 500. I'll just label them so people don't forget. We have SPX, and we have Fed funds rate, and over here we have unemployment. Okay. So I'm just saying, like, people are cherry picking. Like, people are how about these cuts, right? How about these cuts with unemployment moving up? What did the market do? Right? What did the market do? Even during this period, like look at what we did here. People are cherry picking, right?
Slide
Unemployment
that
actually moved
scale up,
up.
Max. Slide that scale up for me. The price on the right. Just yeah. I mean, that's not a small. I mean, you had a little drop there, but like price was higher when unemployment was higher.
Yeah, there's always pullbacks, right?
Yeah, but price peaked. Well, unemployment peaked and price was higher than, it's just that's crazy.
Yeah. Like, what are we talking? Like, I'm just saying, people are cherry picking a handful of like doom scenarios that happened, and they're just lazily attaching cuts. They're just saying that cuts are bearish, and I'm like, okay, yeah, there's some instances of that, but there's also some instances of it not being bearish.
Yeah, I would say it's much more likely that it's going to not be bearish this time. You know.
And by the way, 4.2% is historically low unemployment, right? Like,
Oh yeah. I mean, even the CPI that we had like in 2022 was still, like I'm pretty sure my parents were buying houses at 9%. Like, oh, thank God we got 9%. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
that's wild. That's wild. Um, but yeah, I mean, I don't think there's bearish macro factors in play right now. Like, it's the same thing as 2022.
Do I dare say that the soft landing was successful or no? Is that
I
bold?
mean, if Powell's gonna come out and claim victory, I'll do it too.
I
It's
mean,
good enough for Powell. It's good enough for me. All right.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. People love to do this. They love to just like I feel like it gets really good engagement right now on Twitter. Like I follow a couple guys that are just like
Hmm.
doomer right now, man. Like just and they're like, this will be no different than this.
Hmm.
This 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 will be no different. Like when these cuts come, it's over.
Yeah. I don't know. I can't see it. I just don't think it works out for him. That's all. Bitcoin needs to flip $60,000 and we are Gucci. I'll say that. We are Gucci. Just looking at some VWAPs. I mean, yeah, I think you flip 60K again, you're not coming back.
Okay, so this right here is why is it showing like dots?
What are we unemployment?
This is US unemployment. Going back to the 40s, the average US unemployment is 5.7%. I'm not saying that we want that. I'm just saying 4.2 is not going to trigger 2007. Okay.
5.7 is okay. I see.
This is your average of
It's just
every.
what's gonna scare people though, right? What is like does 5 scare people? Does 4, 5 scare people? Like, what is gonna frighten people? Even if that's like the historic mean going back, 80 years or whatever. Did you just pull a fib on
I didn't mean
one?
to. Phew.
Study the golden pocket of
Here,
unemployment.
here. I'll show you. I'll show you the golden pocket right here.
Oh man, let's see it.
There you go.
Oh,
It's
we're
over.
in it.
It's over.
We're in it right now.
All we need to see is this.
Yeah, just for a little bit.
Then I don't care. Whatever.
You should try to pull up a decent global liquidity index on there. Not like Fed balance sheet. Like, let me see if I have one for you. Because the Dharma Tech guys actually I think is pretty good. Um, Yeah, Dharmatex is nice.
Do you have it on your screen?
Yes. What am I on? I'm on Soul. Oh wait. Oh, I was on my app and not my. There we go. All right, yeah, check this out. Yeah, Dharmatex is good. It's a good follow on Twitter, by the way. Yeah, anyway, let's make this nice and green and thick.
Powell's going to come out wearing that tie right there.
He needs to, man. He needs to. I think this is definitely going higher. I think you probably set your low on this. Also, there's just a ton of room to the upside, right? Like, I would say, let's make it a little bit thinner. That's just a little too thick. All right. I would say it looks so much more akin to 2017 than it does 2021, right? We had a COVID money printing, right? But this kind of action where you had the range in 2017, the wasted time, all that, which we've been doing, into just expansion right now. This is your wasted time right here.
And by the way, I don't think we can do this on TradingView, but if you look at the year-over-year change, it paints a very, very bullish picture
On M2?
For M2, and for global liquidity.
On M2SL? Yeah, I don't know if it'll give you, but yeah, this chart too, like, first of all, do you really want to fade this chart right here? This is M2. Like, this thing only goes up, like, this was your bear market. But this chart really, really only goes up. So, yeah, I just don't see either of these coming down anytime soon. I mean, Bitcoin is clearly a direct beneficiary of money printing, right? And easier monetary policy.
As much as people want to say that Bitcoin is like scalable money, and I hope that it is one day, right now it's trading more like the Russell.
Yes.
And that's the truth. Like when small caps get bid, Bitcoin gets bid.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, okay, well, at its most basic sense, it's a, like I said, direct beneficiary of easy monetary QE and ZERP, right? And we're about to cut rates. So what are we talking about? Like, we're about to get easier monetary policy. So I don't understand. I can't understand, the 2019 comps are interesting also. Like, they're very interesting, but.
And we went over some of the 2019 scenarios. Like here, let me pull it back. Okay. I like the 2019 scenario, right? So if we want to talk about how this is 2019, and the reason people are doing it is because Bitcoin did exist during a Fed cycle, right? Where you had hikes. Make this red, right? So effective federal funds rate moving up. Fed starts to cut. Make this green, cheaper money, right? And then you can see what price did. The big question here is like COVID was weird, man. Like it's so hard to try to extrapolate out like what Bitcoin will do during this part of the cycle because you had a 1 in 100 year black swan right here, right? Like you just can't work this into your forecast because it's like you can't really plan for that again, right? So I've talked about this with our community where I'm like, Okay, if COVID didn't happen, I hate doing this, but if COVID didn't happen, right? Is it possible that the chart would have just looked like this? Something like this.
I would say it's probable.
Yeah. So it's like you start getting cheaper money, Bitcoin starts sliding, and then we get a bull market, right? Makes perfect sense. If the chart looked like this and there was no COVID, okay? The thing about 2019 is Bitcoin topped in 2019 damn near right when we got the first cut. Pretty close, not exactly. Bitcoin this time has topped well before the first cut. The first cut is coming September 18th. Okay, first cut is coming right here. So it's different from 2019 in the sense that we're clearly doing an expedited version of it. So Bitcoin in 2019, like I said, topped right as we got our first cut. I'm rounding a little bit, but give me some grace with it, okay? Bitcoin topped in March. Bitcoin has topped 190 days before we get our presumed first cut, which is going to happen in a week. All right. So if that is the case, what happened over here in 2019? 189 days would take you to right here.
The bottom.
The bottom removing COVID from the equation, right?
Now,
So
Max, do one more thing for me. Measure Bitcoin from the Pico bottom in 2022. Well, they're both of them, right? Okay. That's almost a 4x. Now go back there. Okay. 300 something percent, almost a 4x, right? Now do the drawdown from top to where we bottomed before COVID. All right, 55% and 35%. Now study market cap variability, right? Like
it needs to be observed, right?
it does.
And I don't mind the 2019 example at all, but I also think it's unfair to say that somehow we haven't done this already. You know, we haven't done all of this when clearly, in my view, we're probably right now, like right in here. Okay. And we're just doing it ahead of schedule, right? Because we topped so much earlier, you know? Here, I'll put them up on a different pane here. And we'll put them side by side. Go to the daily. And we'll throw up Fed funds rate. We'll go back here.
Yeah, those drops and those floors need to be observed for sure. Right? Like
Yeah.
those purple dots you've got. Yeah, like that's really it.
And we're about to get this right over here.
I mean, what does that tell you though? Like that second blue dot you've got, like could you double bottom? You know, could you
Just be right
feel
there. There's a million different ways to bottom, right? Like and we've talked about that. Like sometimes you take the low, sometimes you don't, right? But I'm willing to bet that contextually, we've already done this. We're 190 days ahead of this fractal. So if you want to do 2019, if you're a 2019 boy, here you go. You did it. Like, what more are you expecting? Like, are you expecting Bitcoin to, like, after a Bitcoin halving and right before a US election and right before money becomes cheaper, are you expecting Bitcoin to range from March through September and then break down another 25%? and then your cycle gets destroyed, and then somehow something breaks that hasn't broken yet, and then we're all good after. Like, I don't think that's real, man. Like, I don't think that that's real. Like, I think if you're a 2019 boy, you have to look at this and go, yeah, we've just done this. Now it's time for this.
I mean, pick your poison, right? You can either say, all right, we're in 2019. Here's the comparison. Or you can go back to 2017. Look at that. It probably looks even better, actually. But yeah, it's I just can't be bearish here, man. It just there's no context that it makes sense in, it just doesn't. But yeah,
What if we
can
did
never
this?
be me.
What if we did this?
What is that?
This is your destiny, brother.
Is that the victory fractal?
Yeah, this is the Trump victory fractal. This is the Trump pump.
Yeah, where is that? That's 25K right there, huh? Yeah.
Yeah.
I know that spike, that I think that was a grayscale thing back in 25K, but that little pop, that red dot right there is perfectly lines up with that. Let me go look at that real quick. Yeah, no, that's something I was looking at too. I mean, the sentiment is similar, right? Like, the problem was that Dr. Will's outlook was the only one on the right side of that trade at the bottom. And we were all bearish at the time. And I will not let that mistake happen again.
What I'm most encouraged by is, and I posted this on Twitter. Okay. And I'll show you guys again. What we've seen over here is basically capitulation. And let me add I'll recreate this chart. I posted this yesterday. Okay, volume suite. Let me change the colors a little bit here. We're going to go lower. 10. Okay. So what I need everybody to observe here is the significance of the bear traps that have verifiably been set all of Q3. Okay. So this is your 2024 volume profile with relative volume marked out on the chart. All right. I'm going to drag these arrows out a little bit more. We all know that breakout traders typically get destroyed. All right. They typically get destroyed. Let me just adjust this a little bit. The people that are overly eager tend to get destroyed, right? This is all of your transacting that has occurred in 2024, right? Value area is basically where 68% or 70% of all of your volume has occurred. And this is for the entire year of 2024. What we've seen right here is huge sell volume in the first week of July, first week of August, and first week of September.
Boys.
What?
We're pumping.
Boys, we're pumping.
Boys, we're pumping.
The first week of every month of Q3 so far has been followed by statistical outlier capitulatory sell volume by overly eager bears or weak hands selling, shorting, or capitulating into our 2024 value area low, and them being met with the study of buoyancy immediately following. I'm not making this up. This is literally just me presenting you the data. You've seen the same thing that you saw right here. It's kind of hard to see that green, but you can see it. And here, and then I guess a little right here, people trying to force a breakout, getting overly eager into the highs. They're getting overly eager into the lows right here. They've been stuffed for 90 days. 90 days straight. Either shorting, selling, capitulating into our 2024 value area low. What more do you want to see? You know, do you need another one? Do you need another capitulation?
No more. One more sweep though, Max. One more sweep. I mean,
The low sweeper boys,
the
man.
low sweep wars.
Dude, one more sweep of the lows, then I'll get bullish. You know what the
Oh
worst part is,
man.
man, is like they're all like, oh yeah, you know, I'm bearish here. I'm looking for, you know, this low to get taken out. All right. You know, now I'm, you know, I'm bearish here. I sweep this low. You know, it's like, how many more damn sweeps do you need to have your appetite for people getting shaken out satisfied? You know, look at the capitulatory sell volume into this level.
Yeah, that's pretty wild. I don't know. It just feels greedy at this point, right? And everybody wants to talk about like greedy moon boy bulls talking about 100K. It's like this is greed exemplified on bear perp trader side for the last 6 months right here. Like that's it. You're looking at it. Like, you know what I mean? Like that is greedy. The low sweepers are greedy in my opinion.
They're
So,
greedy. They just keep calling for lower, man. I'm like, yeah, you want to get bearish altcoins and be like alts are cooked. I don't care. You can FUD alts all you want. We're talking about Bitcoin right now. Okay. When Bitcoin and when Bitcoin does this and Bitcoin does this and Bitcoin does this, alts get wrecked.
mhm.
Okay. Bitcoin uncertainty always leads to alt carnage. Okay. But eventually, Bitcoin forces you to study buoyancy and altcoins bottom and then they recover quickly. And let's move over to something like Total 3, right? Let's move over to Total 3 and study that for a second.
Ooh, I like that chart.
Look at that capitulatory sell volume. Do we want to call it an inverse head and shoulders? Like what do you want to call it, you know? What are we looking for here? I mean, do you recognize that if you break down from this level, it's over? You know? Here's the thing, if you want to get bearish here, you're not, and I don't even know if they recognize it. You're not calling for I might have it saved here actually. Yeah, I have it saved.
Boom. There it
You're
is.
you're not calling for like lower a little bit. You're literally calling for the end of it, man. Like you're calling for the end of it. And I don't even know if they recognize it at this point, but like you don't get to just keep going lower. You're in an uptrend. You need to hold this level. You cannot go back into your bear market range. Then you do that. If you
They
go
want
lower
COVID,
here,
Max. They want a COVID type of not event, but price action. They want like a nuke and then a V out, and it's just you don't. That happened like one time, you know, like that. It just that doesn't happen. That's not how markets traditionally trade by any means, you know.
you have to hold this blue box, Tucker. Like I will
Yeah,
not negotiate with TA terrorists. I
I
won't do it.
know. I have the same box drawn. I mean, others is the same in the same spot right now too. And you've got your little normie downtrend on like, you know, the daily that's just begging to be smashed through, right?
And what I find so interesting about this chart, Tucker, is the seasonality of it. Let's go back and look at Total 3. Retesting the must hold level, right? Like you
Mhm.
can't re-enter your bear market reaccumulation. Otherwise, you're just straight up in a bear market again. Okay. You can't do it. What I find interesting about last cycle's retest is that this is September through the end of the year. So the last month of Q3 into Q4. Retesting your must hold level. Structure holds, we get a bull market, right? These are these brackets right here, the two black vertical lines, okay? Look at where we're at right now, September. Retesting that critical level again. Could it be as simple? Give me my normie breakout.
I mean, it feels like it. I mean, I just can't get bearish in September of having an election year. Like, that is as simple as everyone needs to make it. Like, the worst month, I just, especially the first half of September, right? Like, we know even traditionally the second half of September is good, right? Is green. So we put in our low in the first week of the last 3 months, higher low, normie trend, demand, fundamentally, contextually, everything is bullish. I don't know. I
Tucker,
don't know, man.
pull up your chart.
All right. Oh yeah.
I'll be back in 2 minutes.
All right. I got you. Yeah, this is what I was. Well, that's from the other day. I still do like that comparison, but this is others pretty damn similar to Total 3, but this is kind of your support, resistance, support, right? Like, you got to hold this box. That's the weekly. Now, I was talking about this, right? Right, this. You can draw this however you want, but essentially that is just your normie downtrend line, right? And now all you need to do is carve out a higher low after, months of lower lows, right? It's not that difficult, guys. It's not that difficult. And if you want to be super granular and technical with it, right? It's like, these are good places to be bullish because your invalidation is super easy and simple, right? Like, you know, lose this level and it's lights out, like, it's super easy because you can set up a very cleanly invalidated long from here, you can set this up essentially. And that's good RR, that's good RR. So if you didn't buy at 15K, you deserve to be you do deserve to be a bidder here, or you don't. DoorDash, all caps guy. Loving the comments, bro. Just loving it. Anyway, you do deserve to be a bidder here. Here's my thing with the comparison to last cycle too, right? Yeah. Okay. I don't even think you can. Oh, yeah, you can. Interesting. There's your level. There's your bottom. Same thing, right? It says a box, but there's your level. There's your bottom. I mean,
And
just
then
like,
they just want COVID again, man. They just want COVID
they
again.
really do. They really just want like this move, and then they'll be bullish. And it's like, dude,
But here's
you
the
know,
thing, man. You can't get that. Like, you just can't.
no, you can't. You definitely can't. I want to pull up some of these oscillators too, like stock and RSI, like just the most basic stuff. Like, you got to go a little bit out here. Let's remove all the drawings. I mean, when has it historically been good buys? Like, you should be buying stock RSI down there, and if you want to, look at a similarity, right? I mean, it's just, I don't know. It's even better on Bitcoin, the stock RSI comparison, but let's see here. Yeah, I mean, this is kind of what I've been drawing on Bitcoin in terms of just RSI for the 2019 comparisons, right? Like, you didn't just have the worst bull market ever, right? If we're going to be in the echo bubble camp, you just had the best echo bubble ever, you know? Like, you just had the best 3x off the lows before that, right? Very, very similar RSI structure. When stock bottomed and RSI hit 40, you were bottomed. Okay. That just happened. So again, what are we talking? That's on altcoins. This is on literally shit coins right here. So I think it was even like 2 week was nice too. Yeah. Yeah. There you go. When you get oversold RSI in a halving year, you know, there you go. You didn't even get it in a halving year because you had COVID happen, but there you go again, right? Here's your 2019 comparison. Just the most basic normie oscillators you can find. So I don't know. I don't know what we're talking about, but it's going to be interesting next week when Powell starts yapping, that's for sure. And obviously we had a pretty interesting day today, but look at that. Look at
I
that
mean,
candle.
it's CPI day. Who cares? You know,
I
it's
know.
garbage. The only guarantee on economic day to day is that it's junk. That's it.
That's true. I just want to mark these out one more time. This is really, well, I'll mark out this one too, but these are really the only two levels that matter right now locally. And that's exactly what I wanted to see. A little 4-hour swing fail of 56K, right? And
Critical.
this is,
Critical.
yeah, I said we're probably going to run both very soon. So one done, one to go. But you got to flip. You got to flip 59K. Needs to happen. Got to happen.
And like looking at ETH, this is, I mean, I just won't fade the normie breakdown pattern, you know, like I won't fade the diagonals, you know. They work. They work. They
They
work
do.
real well, you know. What happens on the fourth tap? Somebody know?
Does anybody, can someone call Hasaka, please? I need to know what happens on the fourth tap.
Someone call Hisaka. What happens?
Somebody asked for the heat map. Let me look at that actually. I mean, low time frame, there's a decent little bit below us, but go pull up like the 1 month or 3 month heat map. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. Yeah, the 3 month.
Here's
Yeah,
ETH.
I mean all your liquidity is at 70K, man. All of it.
It's this simple. You can never come back below here.
No.
That's the part that I struggle with, Tucker, is that all these boys, they want this. I'm like, when you get this, then this is a short.
Yeah. Like you don't just go into a bull market after that. I just don't.
Then this move is a short into
Yeah.
failed demand, into supply.
Mhm.
Like you just can't do that. I will not accept that we can go back into the bear market range low. Like I just can't do it. I can't get there. I just cannot get there. This has to be, you have to be right now doing this.
Yeah.
And yeah,
That's
we
a
got a
good
little
spot.
overextended. We got the Bitcoin ETF. Everything went a little higher, you know. But I think that's a bullish thing that we were like so high and now we're like in the dumps, right? Like I view that as inherently bullish, where I'm like, we were more overextended before. We're still on track. We're doing like our perfect little retests, okay, of the must hold level. And this was a more powerful move than something like we saw over here in August, September of 2020. We went up higher, faster, right? Like look at the difference here. Here is your previous bear shoulder. Okay. We didn't do that in the previous cycle, where in this cycle, before the bull market began, we actually got so overextended that we did take out our previous bear market shoulder, and now we are doing a structural retest. It's bullish, just like we did over here. It's really, really just, this is it.
Does that little spot in 2020 low time frame look similar at all, or no? Like that two top type of. It was more bull chop back then, I guess, but.
What are you talking about?
Where you retested that green box in 2020.
It looks extremely similar. It looks extremely similar. Let's go over it, right? And here, let me pull up another chart here.
Oh my. Oh my God.
Look at how similar it looks.
That's unreal.
All right. Let's dive into this because I love this. Okay. So your green box is your must hold, gotta hold area. Right. So obviously we just went over how we got a little more extended. Okay. Additionally, I'm going to mark out some months here. Okay. So we're going to mark out September 1st through the end of the year. So September through December. Green box is retesting your must hold, gotta hold level. September 1st. January 1st. Must hold, gotta hold, right? Bear market. Bear market below. Look at what we did down here.
No, you're kidding. Oh, I thought you were going to pull a fib that was identical. Yeah, you just got a little overextended on the retest, right? In 2020.
Look at how we didn't retest, we didn't sweep that low perfectly.
Yeah.
I see some similarities.
I mean, that's bull chop arc right there. That's literally it. Like, I think you bull chop into probably the end of the year. And usually Q4 is when you get Bitcoin to break out. You probably get a little dominance pop, and that's it. And then Q1, altcoins are going to absolutely send. It's going to be wild. It's literally going to be wild. But yeah, we need a Bitcoin breakout in Q4. That needs to happen.
Yeah.
The comments are funny.
It's so similar, man. It's just,
I know. You got a slightly higher low right there. And we literally did that. $57,000 for one Bitcoin max. I mean, what are we talking about?
I don't know.
Max, what are the implications for our on-chain microcaps? Brother.
I'm happy that you asked. Start with one of my favorites. Let's start with my favorite. Andy Bobandy.
Andy
Bobandy. E5 Bobandy.
We love it.
I mean, what are we talking about? Is that bearish? Is that bearish?
No.
Here. Let's do this. Andy. Let's make a little artwork. How about it?
Do it. Do it.
Happy to do it. More than happy to do it. The stress test that Andy has survived gives me all of the confidence in the world to continue to shove this thing. It's just so obvious to me. Like, you know, like, here's your Andy top. ETH top just before, right? Classic beta play. You know, every little pump that ETH has goes right over into our microcaps. You know, look at this. It's automatic. It is automatic. I mean, look what started the last mega rally that something like Andy had, right? ETH marks up from 3K to 3,800, 3,900. Andy goes from 40 mil to 300 mil in 2 weeks. It's automatic, man. It's automatic. And like, I mean, let's have some fun with Andy. All right, I'll show you where we're gonna go high time frame. Let's go to the daily. We're looking for high time frame fib confluence. Just gonna go here. Here. I'll mark out this range as well. Okay, this is what gets me really excited, right? It's the fib confluence, right?
Mhm.
Look at these levels. Look at where this top happened, right? At your first range is 2.618 and your second range is 1.618. Let's find some more fib confluence on the chart. The second range is 2.618 with the current range 1.618. And then how about the first range 3.618 with the second range 3.618? You know? So when we look at this, all you have to do is just wait for ETH to pump, right? And then you tag some of these higher levels right up in here. Right? So if ETH goes up here, Andy goes up here. You know?
Mhm.
This high time frame fib confluence will play.
Yeah, I love to find the fib confluence. It usually doesn't steer you wrong in terms of not a top, but DCAing out to some degree, right? But I mean, what are those market cap levels, Max?
The next high time frame level for Andy is 1.3 billion. That's the 1.618 and the 2.618. And then after that, 4.7 billion.
And what's Andy at right now?
61 mil.
Wow.
But it's not even crazy to think about, right? Because you look at it and you go, all right, Andy's at 60 mil, it's ETH beta, and it has survived literal ETH capitulation. ETH went down over 50% from its 2024 high. Let's just say hypothetically, right? ETH went to 4,800 last cycle. We'll just round up and say 5,000. Do we really think that ETH could only go 2x above its previous cycle all-time high? Last cycle, Bitcoin went up 3x its previous, more than that, 3x its previous cycle all-time high, went from 20K to 70K. Right? Do we think that ETH can't go from its previous cycle all-time high of 5K to 10K, or about 5K to 15K? Right? So if ETH right now at 2,400, let's just say, goes up to 10K, that's a 4x. So if ETH goes up 4x, and he's going up 30, 40, 50x as premier ETH beta, I will see you at the confluence levels.
Easy, Max. Easy. You know what also needs to be studied, Max, is the like button, by the way.
Guys, are you doing us dirty today?
Yeah, they are. Big time.
We're not even at 200, man.
No.
Oh my gosh.
They don't like all the bullishness. That's signal bottom.
Do they want us to be bearish?
Mm-hmm.
Are they waiting for COVID?
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Yeah. Classic. People love to wait for COVID.
Max, look at this chart. Study this chart.
It doesn't get much better than that.
It doesn't get much better. Everyone in the comments who's asking for Brett and Pepe and Wolf to be looked at, well, they're all being looked at right now. Okay. Equal weighted, all the boys club in one chart. Study it. Okay.
Can you explain what this means, Tucker?
This is all four of those tickers combined into one, weighted equally. Okay. So really, this is just your index of the boys club. This is what.
And the boys club is going to be the best performing beta train, ETH beta trade, meme trade in the history of crypto.
Yeah, this should be the benchmark right here. Like, if you can't outperform this chart, like, you might as well own it, right? That's really all we're talking about. You know, that's a 4x back to the high. I mean, breakout. Study a breakout, maybe. I always think these breakouts are funny, but it's kind of real. I don't know. You've just got your, to make it simple, right? You've got demand. You've got normie trend line down. This is literally every chart, right? Others, Total 3, Wolf, Andy, they've all got this, right? They've all just got their normie downtrend into quote unquote mega demand. Okay. Mega demand, guys. You
owe me 10 cents.
I know. I'll Venmo you. All right.
Thank you.
Actually, I'll send you some Wolf. This is mega demand, guys. There's another 10 cents. This is mega demand. I mean, what do we really, you want to see some MAs flipped, right? I would say this is definitely one you need to see flipped, but you're real close. Like, the 25-year-old technical analyzer decision time soon is real. Like, this is, you can't do much more sideways, in my opinion, right? Like, I'm gonna put on Bollinger Bands. Okay. Let's just make this one black too and make it, yeah. It's still not that good looking. I need to fix that. But anyway, you gotta get above here. Yeah. And then, I mean, you are pinched, man. Like, you are pinched on the Bollinger Bands to kind of a crazy degree, kind of similar to right here.
Yeah.
In my opinion, it only resolves one way unless you do get a Bitcoin COVID nuke situation, which is definitely not my base case. But yeah,
you're just waiting for ETH, man. Like, pull up ETH below that chart and let's look at it.
Oh, we got some awesome. Oh yeah, okay. This all needs to be studied, by the way.
Bull div.
Yeah, the bull divs on this chart, right? But also like Wolf and Andy specifically, even Brett too, right? Are pretty wild. you're printing pretty high time frame bull divs across the board, right? And here's ETH on the bottom. I'll make ETH bigger, but yeah, study those bull divs, guys.
But look at what happened. Look what was the catalyst for the Boys Club Index pump last time. Look at what caused that giant pump from the low.
What, this one?
Yeah. Look what happened. Why did it happen?
I mean, Boys Club went up a lot. ETH put in a god candle right
Well,
here
that's why.
for
It's because ETH
about
appreciated, so Boys Club went crazy.
ETH went
It's
up
gonna be this
30%.
it's a 10 the Boys Club Index, man, holding Pepe, Brett, Andy, and Wolf is a 10 times levered spot ETH long without the risk of liquidation. The data is in the chart right here. ETH goes up 30%. Boys Club Index goes up, what? I mean, Tucker has it at 500%. That was kind of a crazy wick, but still, it hit. So it's like, if you expect ETH to go up 2, 3, 4x from these levels during a bull market, 10 times that for your equally weighted Boys Club Index. That's the data that we have available, right?
Yeah. I mean, that's about as simple as you can make it, you know. ETH goes up 27 here. You hit a 2.5x on Boys Club right there.
Yeah.
It's just, you've talked about it, right? It's just your bouncing ball. Boom, 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 boom. I mean, you are out of room to the downside. Like, you really are. Like, the whole sellers exhausted meme with David Goggins, like, you know, not real in this scenario. Like, sellers actually are very, very clearly exhausted. Like, it would take long-term committed holders nuking bags, whales nuking bags to push this chart any lower.
They're
You
not,
know,
dude. They're not.
your
I'm
small
talking
money,
to them.
your swing guys are not selling this chart, or are gone. They're literally gone. Like, they've sold. They're out. Like, yeah.
Yeah. It's great, man. I'm so excited. I couldn't be more convicted about it. We're gonna get a little bit of ETH strength, and it's gonna be fantastic. It's gonna be really, really great. And furthermore, like looking at ETH, guys. This is watch. I want you to watch this over the next few days. Okay. I want you to watch this. If this trend line breaks and you see ETH do this, even sometime either after FOMC or before, whatever, just breaks out of this trend line right here where we've had so many tags, right? If you see this downtrend break and you see ETH go from 2,300 to 2,700 to 3,000, watch closely what happens to Pepe, Brett, Andy, and Wolf. Watch what happens. Tucker just showed you perfectly what has happened in the past. Watch what happens again. ETH is going to go up. ETH is going to do this. ETH will go up 20%. And you're going to see the Boys Club, every damn one of them, go up 3, 5, 7, 10x what ETH does from largest to smallest. ETH goes up 20%. Pepe will go up 35, 40%. Brett, probably 50%. Andy, wouldn't surprise me to see 100%. Wolf, probably 150. That's how it works. That's the beta train. It's all dependent on ETH. I want you to draw this on your chart. I want you to draw this diagonal, and I want you to watch this on ETH. Because when this breaks to the upside, watch what happens to the beta train. The best ETH beta constructed meme coin beta trade in the history of crypto. Watch what happens to it. Show me that I'm wrong. Watch what happens when the little trend line that couldn't gives out. All right. Watch what happens.
What do we need? 2,400 ETH probably. 2,400 ETH and you're set. You're
I mean,
rolling.
it's this level right here, man. Like you flip 25,
Oh,
80,
yeah.
2,600, forget about it, dude. Just forget about it. Pack it up.
Yeah.
Pack it up. You flip that level, pack it up. See you at the red box. See you at 3,100.
Higher than that.
I mean, additionally, like look at the CME gap that ETH has up here. This is getting filled, whether you like it or not. That is getting filled. Additionally, what I love about the ETH boomer charts is that we actually swept that low. We swept the capitulation low.
On the what is that? Oh, CME, yeah.
CME, but also all the ETH ETF tickers.
Oh, did they like ETH A and ETE?
Yeah, they all took out the low.
Yeah.
All the boomers got their sweep. And this gap up here is getting filled. Okay, this is real. This is gap will be studied. 3,000. Watch what happens.
Huge gap max also on like ETH A. There's a mat on the index or the ETFs. There's huge gaps up there.
Watch what happens. Study this. Watch what happens. And we probably do this. Like this will be studied. We'll break out, fill the gap. It's over. We filled the gap. We're done. Boom.
It's literally going to be that fractal from 2020. Like it's going to be bull chop for the rest of the year, ended up only. Like
Yeah.
Q1 for ETH is going to be absolutely crazy. ETH and ETH beta is going to be unbelievable.
It's like buying it now, Tucker. Buying ETH beta now.
Oh man.
I'm just holding until, even if you didn't want a diamond hand, if you just bought now, went on a 6-month vacation, and came back in March.
Yeah.
Vacation has been paid for 10 times over. That's all
Easily.
I have to say about it. Yeah.
Easily, man. ETH BTC Q1 2025 up only.
Yeah, literally. And this is what I was talking about, guys. Like here's all your ETH ETFs. They all look like this. They all swept that low perfectly. We didn't do that. Okay, here's our ETH chart. All the crypto natives using actual ETH charts are looking at this going, I want that low. Sweep the low, sweep the low. Boomer said, we got it. We got it. Don't worry about it. We got it. Yeah, Sweaty Nacho said it best, man. Observe. That will happen. It will go down in history. It will. It will be studied for generations to come.
It will.
But all right, we've been going for enough time. We're going to call it here. Guys, thanks so much for being here. Before you go, please consider liking the video and also subscribing to the channel if you are new here. We are growing so quickly, and it is all thanks to your guys' support of what we are building here at BB. What I think I'm going to do here actually is I'm going to pull up the BB website because I want to show you guys something. All right. I want to show you guys something. Website's going through some redesigns right now, starting to look really good. But right now we have a new product that we would love if you guys would consider signing up and trying, because it is epic, guys. It is our BB Terminal, guys. BB Terminal. It's got portfolio tracking, news feed, order execution coming later this month, market stats, heat map, spaghetti charts, DCA charting, DCA calculator. It's got everything that you could ever want or need to succeed in these markets. We spent about 9 months building it, guys. Comes with a Telegram alerts channel. It is awesome. It is in beta right now. If you want to beta test it and be a part of the early beta testing crew and be locked in at your price forever, consider going to our website, link in the description below, and signing up for the BB Terminal plus Telegram. It is right here on the website, guys. It's absolutely fantastic. The BB team basically custom built this tool. All right. We took all the things that we love and adore and we use on a daily basis to succeed in these markets, and we bundled them into the Swiss Army knife of tools for all of you guys to use. We've made the data easier to understand. We are there to help you along the way. And again, it will take your trading to the next level. It is a fantastic resource. And every single time you log in, you will probably notice differences because we are going to be working on this nonstop, additionally, for months and years to come. So join us, guys. Go to the website, BB Terminal plus Telegram. It is fantastic. Yeah, we could probably do an annual subscription. I would say it's probably not going to be cheaper than the discount right now because we are in beta testing, but would love if you guys would sign up and check it out. It's awesome. It's got spaghetti charts, heat maps, portfolio tracking. It's beautiful. It's fantastic. You're going to love it. Additionally, if you want to check out the BB Academy, guys, there are 2 courses here. One of them I made just recently, 100% free, guys. If you like my charts, if you think that they look good, if you want to learn how to make your charts look sexy on TradingView, I put together a free, 100% free, 100% free BB Academy course on how to make your TradingView charts look great, guys. And again, that is 100% free. And if at the end of that course, you want to really dive in and learn from Tucker, Tommy, me, Jackus, and Will on all of our strategies, how we do TA and FA, consider signing up for this. And little tip for you guys, if you take the free course, there may or may not be a little Easter egg within the free course on how to reduce the cost of this even more. So just saying, if you take the free course, definitely pay attention because I kind of drop it in there at some point. It's towards the end, all right? It's towards the end. But yeah, definitely check that out. But yeah, I mean, if you guys really want if you want an annual subscription, we can definitely talk about that with the dev. But yeah, guys, check this out. We've got some great products. If you like the show, you will love the premium offerings, guys. The Discord, so this one right here, the Pro, it's very expensive, but we do 2.5 hours per day of private Q&A and voice calls with the entire BB team and community. So it's like, I mean, you really like if you break it down per day, it's like, I mean, you're getting 2.5 hours of a private show with Q&A and conversation and chart requests, the whole thing. You get to see positional updates, everything like that. So it's worth it, right? It's not just one guy, it's the entire BB team. Our members will vouch for us, right? The effort is there, right? The effort, you will see it. You will not be confused on what the hell you signed up for. I promise you that right now. But if you want to just do the show and you want the best tools at your disposal, BB Terminal plus Telegram really just dropped this week. So check that out, guys. But yeah, thank you, Emilio, man. Thank you. We do, man. We are truly 24/7, man. Like we can't control the market, but we can control the effort that we put into our business and our products. And we want people to learn something. We want people's lives to be better off because of what we're doing. We want to build a successful business. And we want you guys to feel sort of, at home, right? It's like you join the community, you join our products, you support us, you will see exactly what you are getting involved in immediately. But guys, thanks so much for being here. Greatly appreciate your guys' continued support of what we are building here. You guys are awesome. Thanks so much for tuning into Market Check. Manifest the Q4 pump, and we will see you guys tomorrow. Everybody take care.